Hi, it's Alison here from St Andrew's Moscow, and I'm here to welcome you back to Sunday School on the screen again. Hope you've all had a really good week. We're still really missing you coming actually to church and being here with us. And hope it's been okay, even though we haven't been able to be outside. It's been quite cold, hasn't it, this week anyway, but hopefully it's going to be nicer. Well, I was outside a couple of weeks ago doing the garden, and I cut up some twigs and some branches to tidy up, and I brought them back inside and put them in some water, and look at what's happened to them. Wow, they have sprouted into life. Isn't it amazing, God's creation, how he has new life coming out of nothing, apparently nothing. Well, it's funny, but actually today's story has people who take branches down, not to tidy up, but to wave in the air and to lay down on the ground and on the road as a carpet to welcome a king into their city. Now, because a king is a very important person, isn't he? Now, what is a king? I was thinking, what's a king like? Let's see if I can draw. Well, a king lives in a palace. A flag flying. Another flag flying. Perhaps he's got a door like this. A big portcullis. Maybe he's got some ramparts here. And then another big tower this side as well. Here we are, it's the King's Castle. And maybe the king also wears a crown. Let's draw his crown here. Here we go. And we'll put some pearls on the top, or precious stones. And the other thing about a king is that he has servants to serve him. Let's see if we can draw a servant. Here we go. He's holding on to the king's robe. Here's the king with his crown on. Here's the king marching out forwards. Here's his robe. And here's the servant. Yeah. There we are. He has servants to serve him. Well, the story today is about someone, a king, who didn't really have any of these things. He didn't wear a crown. Well, he did, but not like that one. He certainly didn't live in a palace. And instead of having servants to serve him, he came so that he could serve us. Who am I talking about? Of course, it's Jesus. It's King Jesus that we're thinking about today, and how he came into Jerusalem. Now, if he'd actually been a really powerful king like everybody wanted him to be, he would have come in on a great big chariot, or maybe a big white horse, and have lots of guards around him. But do you know what he did come on? There weren't any cars in that time, or skateboards, or anything like that, or scooters. Yeah, he came on a donkey. And it had been said in the Bible that in the past a prophet had prophesied, had said that your king, the Messiah, will come in to Jerusalem sitting on a donkey, humble and gentle, and sitting on a donkey. So he wasn't going to be the sort of king that most people expected. Well, We're going to read the story in a moment, but first of all, I thought it would be nice for you to make some palm branches, just like the ones that the people in the story have waved, and a little bit like the ones that I picked. So we should be able to make them with things that you've got, but you might want to pause the video in a moment to go and find these things. They're all things that I think you'll have in your homes. So maybe you've got the inside of a kitchen roll. That's quite a good thing to use. If you haven't got that, well, just some pieces of paper, a piece of paper that you can roll up from one corner to make it the longest possible. And then you're not even going to worry about glue or tape, you're just going to use an elastic band. I'm going to tie it into 3 and make that into sort of a tube as well, a bit like our kitchen roll tube. There we go, that just holds it into place. We've got 2 tubes, they're 2 possible tubes. If you haven't got one of those, what about a straw? A straw would work. And then, well, I raided my wrapping up cupboard and I found all sorts of bits of string. I was trying to find green things because that's what palm leaves, what sort of colour they were. String and ribbon and different types and different widths of ribbon as well. So let's try the, oh, did I say about a spoon? I thought even a wooden spoon would work. We just want something that's long and thin. And basically, I'm going to put the spoon bit down at that end, and then around the top, I'm going to just tie on the ribbon. Tie it on so that it looks a little bit like waving branches that we'll be able to wave when we come to that bit in the story. So that's one bit. Here's another bit coming around. And quite nice to have something that makes a little bit of noise too. So if you haven't got any ribbon, you might, I'm sure everybody in their house has got a plastic bag. And you can cut up the plastic bag into strips. So here's a strip, and you can tie that around your wooden spoon or your straw. There we go. So already we've got the beginnings of something that I can wave in the air when we see Jesus coming through Jerusalem. Just another idea with the tube. Again, really easy. Just cut some strips, cut some snips, different lengths if you like, some short, some long, however many you like, all the way around the edges. And then instead of tying your bits of ribbon or string on, you can just push them through the sides like that and let them hang out, or take them across from one side, one slot, to another slot like that. So you've got it going across the middle. And I'm going to try a piece of this ribbon as well now. In it goes. Out that side now. I'm really starting to get a good one. And I'll do a piece of plastic as well to make it a bit more noisy, because we want to welcome in Jesus as he comes through Jerusalem. So there we go. Really simple. I've made a couple of banners that can wave as we go along. If you've got just the paper rolled into into a tube like this with a piece of elastic around there, or even one of your ribbons, you can then actually, I've done this earlier, but you can cut again snips around the edges like this, and then because you've rolled it you've got a little bit more, you can pull it out slightly, and then you can pull down the edges to make your palm leaves. If you've just got white paper, well, you can colour it in as well. I think I've got a pen here somewhere, and you can colour in to make it into a green palm leaf. Okay, so there we are. We've got 3 different ways, really, really simple to have things. You really don't have anything else like that. You could always borrow somebody's scarf, maybe mummy's scarf, and just use that to wave like this when we get to that bit in the story. So I'm going to show you the story now, and here it is. I'm going to hold it right up close to the camera, and then I'm going to read it from another book that I've got. So here we go. Jesus and his 12 disciples walked to the great city of Jerusalem to be there in time for the special festival of the Passover. On the way, they stopped near a village called Bethany. Do you remember from last week Rachel talking about a village called Bethany? Do you remember who lived there? Yeah, it was Lazarus, wasn't it? And his sisters, Martha and Mary. And Jesus did a great thing there, didn't he? They were his friends. Lazarus had died, and Jesus gave a promise. What was the promise that he gave? Can you remember? It was that this will not end in death. And there was this wonderful surprise. At the end of what seemed to be a very sad story, Jesus brought Lazarus back to life. And there's going to be another promise towards the end of this week that Jesus gives. It's an even greater promise than he gave just to Lazarus. And that's going to be so exciting. And in this story is a sort of story where it seems really happy, but there's a little bit of sadness around it as well. And it almost ends sort of in a cliffhanger. We don't know what's going to happen next. But that's just what happens on Palm Sunday. So let's carry on with the story. Jesus said to 2 of his disciples, "Go into the village. There you will find a donkey that has never been ridden. Untie it and bring it here. If anyone asks you why you are taking it, tell him the Lord needs it and he will let you have it." The 2 disciples did as Jesus told them and soon came back with the donkey. They spread their cloaks over it to make a soft saddle, and Jesus got on the donkey. Then he rode into Jerusalem with his disciples walking at his side. Can you see the picture? And there he is on the donkey, and there are his disciples. And then can you see, as they're going towards Jerusalem, all the people here waving palm leaves. They've taken them off the trees and they're waving the palm leaves. They can't wait to see Jesus. They're so excited. When the crowds of people walking to the city saw Jesus coming, they were excited. Some spread their cloaks on the road. Others cut down palm leaves to lay in front of him. They cheered and shouted. And now this is your chance to wave your palm leaves. What did they cheer and shout? They cheered and shouted, "Blessed is he that comes in the name of the Lord. Praise be to God. Hosanna, Hosanna to the Son of David." And they waved their banners and they waved their palm leaves to see the coming King. What a happy day for everyone, almost everyone. Shall we just try doing that then again? We're going to say, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Hosanna, praise be to God. Let's do it together. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Hosanna, praise be to God. Well, that's the story of Palm Sunday from the Gospel of Matthew. In other Gospels, it talks a little bit more about how, although most people were really, really happy and praising Jesus, some people were not very happy about what was happening. They were the Pharisees, and they were plotting. They had other thoughts on their minds than praising Jesus. Well, this is one of the saddest weeks that we're going to be coming into of Easter. But as Rachel said last week, this story, even though it is sad, it has an amazing surprise ending that you'll hear about next Sunday. And we look forward to seeing you then. Thank you so much for listening. We'll look forward to seeing you again next week, and maybe even just before next Sunday as well, on Good Friday. We're going to finish off with a prayer, and then I'm going to play you a song all about Palm Sunday. So let's just pray first, and then I'll play you the song. Dear God, thank you for the children of St Andrews. Thank you for this story, that you are a king. You're the king of our hearts. You're the king of our lives. And you show us how to live in your kingdom. And you give us a promise that when we believe in you, we will never die. Thank you, King Jesus. Amen.
Here comes Jesus riding into town. Cloaks and branches, throw them to the ground. Praise and glory, everybody sing. Sing Hosanna, Hosanna to the King. Blessed is he who comes our way. He brings a new and brighter day. The poor are saved, the blind can see. The captive souls are dancing free. Yeah, here comes Jesus riding into town. Cloaks and branches, throw them to the ground. Praise and glory, everybody sing. Sing Hosanna, Hosanna to the King. King of heaven, King on earth, listen to his saving word. Peace and justice, walk with him. Let's raise the gates and let him in. Yeah, here comes Jesus riding into town. Cloaks and branches, throw them to the ground. Praise and glory, everybody sing. Sing Hosanna, Hosanna to the King. Our lives will never be the same. Praise and bless his holy name. And if we cannot sing it out, the rocks themselves will start to shout. Yeah, here comes Jesus riding into town. Cloaks and branches, throw them to the ground. Praise and glory, everybody sing. Sing Hosanna, Hosanna to the King. Here comes Jesus riding into town.